back to another edition of Along the Rock. My name is Nathan Stahr. I'm filling in for Mark Morris today. And we're speaking with Addy Watts and McKenzie Woodard about their trip to Springfield to learn about how government works. So Addy, welcome. McKenzie, welcome. I guess tell me a little bit about how did you guys get chosen for this? Did you apply for it? How did you become a part of this project?
Yeah, so we basically were chosen. I think there was 4 girls that were initially chosen, and we got this pamphlet to see what it was all about, see if we would be interested in it, and ultimately in the end only 3 girls ended up going.
Okay. And then were you sponsored for this event, or was there a group that sent you guys?
We had sponsors.
Yeah.
Johnson Oil and Sauk Valley Bank, Coloma Township, I think.
Okay, and this was through the American Legion, correct?
Yes.
And in Rock Falls. Okay. Tell me about this trip. What did you guys learn while you went there?
We really just learned a lot about forming a government, and just it honestly prepared us to be able to vote in different elections, to learn what each person does, and how much work goes into an election and a politics and all that stuff.
Okay. And then how long was this trip? Was it a day? Was it a weekend?
It was a week long.
A week long trip. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Did you get to meet a lot of political figures, or was it just mainly just kind of like a school?
There was a couple speakers that came in and spoke to us that really were very influential to a lot of us. The treasurer came in, the governor's campaign manager that came in. One girl was a former Miss America that came in. It was pretty cool. The speakers were I liked them a lot. Yeah.
So what was your favorite part of that?
I liked Miss America the best because she stayed and she took pictures with everyone, and I don't know, me personally, when I went to take a picture, she talked to me personally about my roles at Girls State and how exciting it was and how she loves how the little program works.
Okay. Before you guys went, did you have any preconceived notions of how government works and how it functions, or did you have any interest in it before this?
I didn't really know a lot, but I did the only stuff I knew was stuff I had learned in history class and everything. But going down there was completely different. You're put into this thing and you're just thrown in with everyone else.
I agree with that because they don't really teach us all about voting in history. You kind of get, everyone votes for this, but they don't really explain how you vote, how each election works. So it was more of we learned a lot about government and voting and how our role affects the world, I guess.
So is your interest in, how government works been, changed, or how has it affected your viewpoints on how this stuff operates now?
For me, it's not a lot, a little, but I know a lot of other girls that went have told me that that experience has really changed a lot for them, and what they are interested in has changed, and they really want to pursue politics and all that stuff.
Yeah, for me it's kind of the same thing. I wasn't really interested in government at all when I went because I was more about forming connections with everyone, but I guess going into it I felt a little more I kind of like government, but I don't think I could see myself going into it at all.
Yeah. But we should have a better understanding of how it all operates.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself telling people, hey, I know this?
I did a couple times to my parents just to mess around with them, but otherwise no.
So I guess it doesn't, you talk about other people who are interested in going into politics now, but do you feel that going on this trip and what you learned at that, did that change anything in what some of your future endeavors are? I know, so you say one of you told me earlier that you're going to go into teaching, math and science, not really government field, but.
I think afterwards I kind of had to take a second to think because my whole thing has been math and science, but now I'm history. I would like to teach history because that's always fun, but it's kind of that experience kind of changed it.
Yeah. And then Addy, I'm sorry, I forgot what you told me you were planning on doing.
Occupational therapy.
Okay, that's right. I knew it was something somewhat medical.
Yeah.
And again, that's not another one that's very government. So I guess would you guys recommend for other students to go to this? Now this is a girls' trip, right? So
Yeah, there is girls' state and then there's boys' state
okay.
too. Yeah.
Okay, so it is separated out for.
Yeah.
So there is an opportunity for both boys and girls to go. So I guess. Is there anything more information that you guys would like to share about these the trips? How to prepare for it if you are interested? Whether you're, I guess it doesn't matter whether you're interested in government or you just kind of your case where you went for just the connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel that was a benefit for you just for that aspect, or do you think you gained more out of it by actually learning how government functions?
I think I gained both. Like even today, it's one of my friend's birthdays from Girls State, and I'm still in contact with my roommate and girls from my city. And I like the connections I made, and I made really good friends. And sometimes it depends on the people you connect with there, but I think a few people like just staying in contact with is good. And the government aspect is really nice because I find myself wanting to tell people like, go do this. Even boys, I talked to a guy that wants to go to Boys State. I'm like, just do it.
Yeah.
The experience is great.
Yeah, going into it, like you're like nervous because you don't really know what to expect. Like the girls that went last year had told us about it and like what to expect, but we were still very nervous going in. And once you get there, you realize like everyone else is feeling the same exact way. So it's kind of like an easy way just like to get along. And like Mackenzie said, I still talk to like a lot of the girls that were like in my city, and just it's nice to have that like bond with everyone else.
That's interesting. So was it mainly just kind of how the government functions itself, or did you guys learn about, I know you talked about voting, but it was, so I assume that's for political elections, but did they talk anything about how laws are drafted or passed and things along that line, or was it mainly more of the role of the people and how they affect government?
It was mainly more of like the people and their roles. Like we were basically able to form our own government. Like there was multiple like cities and there was like counties, and you voted for like different things for each city or county, and then ultimately went up to like there was governor and treasurers, all that stuff. But yeah, I feel like we didn't really learn like what everyone does, but like just individual roles of like what they do just to make our own government.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I don't know, because we had different roles, and I was on the House of Representatives, so I kind of learned more about how bills are passed, but other people who didn't get to have that role didn't really learn how. But I would have to sit in the rooms where laws would go back and forth from Senate to House, and we'd have arguments every day, but it was fun.
So you guys were in different kind of learning experiences.
Yeah.
So then how many different groups were there they got to meet? Or do you know? Or
It's kind of separated big because you have like your political party. So we were feds and nats, and then we were separated by cities and counties.
Yeah.
So we didn't see each other that often. And it's like the role you kind of sign up for kind of depends where you're at the rest of the week and what you do.
what are your guys' future plans besides what you're planning on field you're going into?
I visited Augustana, and then I'm going to visit Carthage College. It's in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I've applied to both. I got accepted into Carthage, and I'm waiting on one from Augustana. But those are really like my top two that I'm looking at for my field.
Nice.
So mine kind of depends for teaching. I haven't applied anywhere, and I haven't taken any visits, but I work a lot, so it's kind of hard to fit everything in. But my top two schools right now are Illinois State or Western Illinois for teaching, and then I'm still undecided because I do a little bit of photography on the side, so I don't know which one I want to go for sure yet.
Yeah. So then is the plan to try to stay around in this area after you graduate, or move out of town, out of state?
I feel like I'd probably stay somewhere in state for me, like maybe towards like a suburb or maybe even Chicago for like my field personally.
I like the small town kind of vibe, so I don't know if I'd stay here, but I'd stay somewhere relatively close.
We're relatively the same size. We've been talking to Addy Watts and McKenzie Woodard about their trip from the American Legion's Auxiliary Illini Girls State trip to Springfield, Illinois. And thank you very much. This has been another episode of Along the Rock with your host, Nathan Stahr, and for Mark Morris. See you next time. American Legion Auxiliary
Illini Girls State.
Illini Girls State.
Yes.
Illini Girls State.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry to switch the camera.